Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. Here with your boy Torres Finney and my co-host Tyler Layfield. What's up, Tyler?
Nothing much, man. A good weekend. I was just talking to Torres about it before the fight, but big congratulations to good friend of the show, Kobe Reed. Was able to go to his wedding, and congratulations to him and Sierra. It was a good wedding. Got to also see good friend of the show, Jackson Caudell. So, been a while since the last time I've seen him in person. Met his girlfriend. So, very very excited to be there with them. So it was good. And then today we started soccer camp over there at Howard Middle School. So I was running that today. So that's what's been up. What about you?
Man, look, got to get great chance to go into Atlanta, get some good training in, and yeah, we'll eventually get to it. Got a chance to watch some really good fights, and yeah, just been training,
Who were
getting
you
prepared.
training with? I saw you were at American Top Team.
Yeah, I trained with Trayshawn Gore. Trayshawn, he currently fights in the UFC, so yeah, we had some really good rounds in together, and yeah, and then I'll trade with some other guys. Reese Watkins. Reese is on the upcoming. He's gonna be good. He's 5-0 right now. He'll be
Where's he?
4-0, 4-0, I believe. I think he's 4-0.
What like league or
There's
what
no.
would you
I mean, he's
call it?
just fighting in the regional scenes. There's no
Yeah,
league.
region. Yeah, what do you, like? Which one is he? Because I know you like some of the
So
local ones you were in.
no, you just don't. You're not attached to a promotion. You just fight on the
Well, what
regionals.
ones has he fought in? If that's is what I'm trying to get at.
He's fought in Ring of Comeback,
Nothing I've seen from you, though, right?
NFC. He's fought in some really big ones.
So NFC, you said?
NFC. Yeah,
Okay, I've seen a couple NFCs because of you, right?
I fought on one for in that Macon one. That was one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but
That's
that
right.
was a mix of Aries and NFC. So
That's
like
right.
some people get territorial and like come to my state trying to put cards in. So you have to sometimes do co-promotions.
Uh huh.
Um, but uh, but yeah, it's just essentially regional scenes, and then you got bigger promotions, obviously UFC, PFL, one. So you just got that, but there's no really separation, too
Okay.
much. Uh, but yeah, but Reese Watkins, he's on to come up. Ronald Humphrey, he's gonna be he's an amateur right now, but he's gonna be on to come up, man. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. He's really good. I like him a lot, so excited to see some of those guys. But yeah, it was just really good training week.
Nice, nice. So, man, we got pretty good week ahead of us, especially if you're Torres Finney and you're a Dallas Mavericks fan.
Yeah,
You hope it's going to be a good week with some good results for them. But last time we talked, it was the day of Game Five. Mavericks, heading into their last what would be the last game against the Timberwolves. Or no, it's actually Game Four, right? Or no,
game five.
yeah, it. No, it was Game Four because I told you I think that the Timberwolves would steal one that night, and they did. But then they ended it Game
Yeah,
Five
game
because I
five.
remember.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah, that's right. My bad. So I switched it up. But yeah, it was the day of Game Four. I called my shot. I said I
He
think we'll at
did.
least get one. They ended
Should have
up,
got
and
that one actually. They should have got that one.
yeah, yeah. I know. Well, shoot, it feels like every one of them they keep stealing. So, but they were able to really just absolutely slam the door Game Five, and Luca just came out on fire. I didn't even watch any of it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was with the in laws, and they're not big basketball people for the most part. They're not really big. They're sports, but it's more like college football, and right now that's just not the time. So, I was just at their house. I was trying to keep up with the score. I start looking at it. I'm just like, okay, this is like a 20-point lead. I'm not even going to bother. So, what were your takeaways though of them being able to close off that end of their journey toward the NBA Finals?
I mean, look, majority of our wins this year has come where on the road. We have been finishing these series where on the road. I am really happy about seeing what the Mavericks has done. I told you based on last on podcast, man, the defense of this team has completely switched. I mean, my goodness. And look, it's a two-headed monster. When Luca and Kyrie, see, throughout the series, it was mainly Luca, and then you have Kyrie sometimes like a second half, he'll turn it on and it'll be mainly
Yeah,
on Kyrie
when he needs to.
when he needs to. When it's been both of them on together, good God Almighty.
Good
Ooh,
luck.
I mean, what can you do? Like, I can't even fault the Timberwolves. It's one of those like, what can you do, man? Like when Luca was hitting shots, that I'm sitting there like, why are you taking that? Oh my gosh, he hit that. That's how I was. That's how I was in like game what was it, game 2? I think it was game 2 when he hit the 3 over Rudy Gobert. I'm sitting here like, oh, no, take no. I know he's hit it a lot, but I'm like, no, we got all we need is 2 to tie. What you taking a step back? Oh, he hit the step. Like, it's like that with him. And the man's special. And Kyrie, I mean, my goodness, dude. See, we've always known how good Kyrie is. We always know
He's
how
always
good.
had that in him, and
Yeah.
we noticed that early on. It's just for a while there, things got a little weird, and then all
Yeah.
this, everybody started doubting it, and then now he's
But
just
he was
really proved
always
everybody wrong.
playing good. I don't get that. He was being doubted because of like the problems he was causing on the team. But Kyrie had lost a step in a. I mean, I'm watching. He ain't lost a step, so it's special to see what he's been doing. But hey, it's one of those things, man. I'm really excited, and I like your pick. We're gonna get to it, but I like your pick,
All right,
Jacob.
Jack. Yeah, Jacob chiming in saying Dallas and 6, and we'll see where Torres ends up laying with here in a minute. So on the other side, we talked about Boston. They were able to um, they ended up what? Theirs was a 4 game. They swept them, right? Yeah, they swept the Pacers. So they came in. They're hoping to get Porzingis back. There still hasn't really been much about that, but obviously that is a key piece to their team. Obviously because the defense gets a lot better. He does average pretty good bit of points. When he's in. It just brings another element to that team and brings more depth to their front court. So with that being said, coming into this game, because this one's going to be in Boston. Boston's the 1 seed out of the East. What were the Mavericks? They were what, the 4 or 5?
They were the 5 seed.
5 seed. Okay, so
Yeah.
they were the 5 going at number 1 from the East. So this will be in Boston. Like you just started saying, away games they've been on. They've been finishing. They've been closing out series in away games. They've been pulling out wins in away games. So just looking at this first and foremost, just looking to the beginning of this series, how do you see the Mavericks coming out in Boston in a hostile environment? Because them Boston fans. Luka's gonna be arguing some calls as he always does. He's on that same old same old. But they're gonna be giving him some crap. But then again, Timberwolves fans, they were doing the handkerchief stuff, and Luka had some words for that, right? So
Yeah.
how do you see the Mavericks coming out? Is Luka going to come out like he did in Game 5 and just say, "Screw it, we're just going to win this thing in the first half. I'm gonna get hot quick," or are they going to be a little bit more methodical with it?
Yeah, so like looking at what Luca has done throughout every single series, guess what we've done? We're still in the game on the road. Within one of those first two games, and that's big for me. I always would love to see the road team get one of the first 2 games, and again, that's what I'm going to be looking at. Can we get one in Boston? Let's look at Boston Trailway the last few series. They have given up one. They given up game 2 and game both first round and second round. Now they didn't give up one in against the Pacers, but heck, they were dog near close. I mean, Indiana literally should have won both game 1 and game 2, and then
Yeah.
get what happened in game
Well,
3. But
yeah.
no, they should have won game 1 and game 3. But still, those games were very winnable. And I think if you put the Mavs in some of those same positions, I can see us coming out. So what I am going to say is I do like our chances in getting one of those first 2 games. I do like the Mavs. We have the pieces. We have the scoring options. Again, I think this series is going to be really hard. I said this before last week. The Celtics has the best. This is the Celtics' best chance at winning a title, in my opinion. I think because of how we play, we like to run the court. They can try to stimulate some of that stuff because they have a lot more weapons and options. But I don't know, man, because I think we're going to see how good some of these guys are really defensively. And look, I know like guys like Brown and Drew Holiday and Tatum and we know what they can do, but we're gonna really see how good defensively you are. Because like people want to sleep on like, man, look how the Timberwolves played on Luka. Well, let's be honest, who's played good defense on Luka throughout the playoffs? Who's played good defense on Luka throughout his career? Like it's like saying,
Yeah.
man, you got cooked by Kevin Durant. Well, who hadn't? Man, you
Yeah.
got cooked by Kyrie. Well, who hadn't? So like I'm not gonna be diminishing anybody because they're getting cooked. Okay. Like this doesn't hurt anybody because it's hard for anybody to stop. If I see certain people stopping him and he having these on and off games, I give you that. But when he's kicking everybody, and the only way he's having a bad game if he just ain't shooting well, then I ain't about to get mad at you. So like I just see I do see the Mavericks getting one of the first two games, and I do think they can the game I'm gonna call. Look, I predicted we get game two against Timberwolves. I did not think we would get game one. Prove me wrong. Hey, please prove me wrong again, Mavs. Get game one and game two. But
That'd be
I,
nice,
I
wouldn't it?
think we get game two. I think that Boston wins game one and we get game two, and then hey, here we go. The series gets started.
Yeah, just got to steal that one while you're away. So, um, I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast as I typically do from time to time. You know, I
Great
reference him
podcast to
quite a
listen
bit.
to for
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah, and he brought up the only player that he's really seen give Luca a hard time. Can you guess that player? Have you seen? Have like nobody really stops him, but this is who he brought up as a guy that has really actually had a little bit of an effect on him.
Um, what Jalen Brown?
No, Ben Simmons. He
Wow.
brought up Ben Simmons, yeah, and I don't know. I was going to see what you had to say about that because I know you've been watching Mavericks ball for quite some time. You've been watching
I
Luca in
haven't
his
I haven't
Mavericks career.
watched enough of that game. Then I
Uh-huh.
don't ever remember Ben
I want to
Simmons.
go back and look at that, but he says Ben Simmons has been the best, I guess, person as far as who you could throw at Luca to kind of not necessarily stop him, but at least slow him down and frustrate him. Play some
He
really
got the
good
size.
defense. I
He
was
got
about
the
to say
size.
maybe it's the body type or something. So going into this, if you're looking at that, who do the Celtics have that can kind of match that prototype of a player, that archetype of a player? I mean, I know Jalen Brown's what like 6'7". I know
Mhm.
Tatum's what six
They're
eight.
about the same height, just
Both
about.
of them
Yeah,
can
one
play
of them.
decent defense. Derek White, I think he's like a 6'6" guard, which is
He
tall
ain't
for a
gonna, they ain't
guard.
gonna guard him. Mm-mm.
And he can play decent defense, but it's just Luka's a different guy. He's like when people talk about Luka, he has those special tricks. Obviously, he's got the step back. He's got that little move where he'll go by you, but then he'll back into you to let you ride his hip and go. He's just
Straight up.
smooth with it, man. He's smooth with it. He's got the turnaround. He's got a lot of tools in his bag.
Yeah.
But another thing he does, like when he gets you on his hip like that, it's hard for you to kind of reach around him and stuff. He's a little thick, he's
Yeah.
not a beanpole. He's a little thick. So it takes a certain type of athlete, a certain type of person to be able to get in the way and at least kind of cause some frustration, for Luca. So it'll be interesting to see what Boston does to kind of come at that. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see what they do because I mean they got some bodies they can throw at Kyrie. They got Drew, they got Derek White. Pritchard can maybe do something. I'm not going to bet on that one, but they got some bodies they can throw their way. But it'll be interesting to see what they do to kind of how they go about it. Are they going to try to just stop Luca, or are they going to try to make the rest of the players, try to make the rest of the players beat him? Like we referenced in the last show, with like how OKC did, but when OKC did it, Derek Jones and PJ Washington all of a sudden they started hitting all the threes. They were just catching fire from there. So it'll just be interesting to see how this one plays out. Are there going to be any new tricks thrown out? Are they gonna try something different that hasn't been done yet? We saw it. What was it? What was the year? Was it 2019 when the Raptors beat the Warriors and they pulled out the boxing one on
Yeah.
Steph?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just crazy stuff like that. Are they gonna try to do something like that? That's really what I'm looking forward to this series. And I guess we can make our picks here in a second. I'll go first on this one. I know you got skin in this game. You love the Mavericks. You've been a Mavericks
It's gonna
fan,
be tight, man. It's gonna
and
be
you've
tight.
been a Mavericks fan since the beginning, right? Like
It's
that's
gonna be
like
a
your team.
long time, man. I was a
Yeah.
big Dirk Nowitzki fan. If anybody knows me, especially from middle school, high school, I used to always do the Dirk when I would play basketball, and that was my
One leg.
favorite. He had to left one leg
Yeah,
fade
man.
away, and he was one. He
Yeah.
was my favorite basketball player. And obviously, I was just a big Mavs
Just
fan.
not-
And when we won the championship in 2011, I'll never forget
Don't
because
remind me.
I didn't, to be honest. I was going for the Mavs. Like, man, we got to play LeBron with all these guys, man. I didn't think
Yeah.
they would win. And when we took that game to, when we were down 15 points with like 5 or 6 minutes to go, we came back and took the lead. When he made the layup over Bosh, I said we can win this championship. And then we still lost, we still dropped one in Miami, so they still went up 2-1 on us. Then we won all of them straight and finished it in Miami's home court. That was
Crazy.
the time when the finals was 2-3, 2-3-2. So,
Mm.
we was able to get up 3-2, with those two home games, and then we finished it in Miami's home court for that game 6. And yeah, it was special, man. I never forget. I was so pumped because not many folks
You're
gave
big
the Mavs a
underdogs.
chance. Yeah, not many folks gave the Mavs a chance. And I was like, hey, he can do it. Because once I just started like seeing the rhythm we was going in, and Dirk and JJ Burrell coming out there hitting them wild threes, and Jason Terry, Sean Marion, bro. Ooh, Tyson Chandler. And people forget that year Caron Butler was supposed to have been starting, but he got hurt at the beginning of the season, so he didn't play for the whole season. He played all in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
and he would have been good. Like
He would have been a
he would have
great piece
been.
to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would have been good with it. So let's see here. I'm trying to go back and see, um, because there's a theory here, that we look at there, and right now the Mavericks, they're underdogs in this, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, they underdogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the underdogs in this one. And you bring up they were the underdogs in that 2011 series too. But what I'm trying to look up here
I'm gonna say this: they're
is
underdogs to betting odds, but to the people, that it's like the movies when you got the critics and then you got the people's how the people how they vote
the
and watch
audience
it.
score
The
versus
audience
the
score, the
tomato
audience
meter or
score.
tomato
That's
meter.
right, the tomato meter. The tomato meter
Yeah.
has Boston as the favorite. The audience score has the Mavs as the favorite. Like most people I talk to think, oh yeah, Mavs gonna beat Boston. They gonna beat Boston. I'm sitting here like, I don't see how confident y'all are. I keep telling y'all it's about matchups, man.
Yeah.
Basketball has always been about matchups because when everybody got the best players in the world, it's about who matches up against who. And
Yeah.
you
And
watching that Timberwolves Nugget series, I'm willing to bet you everybody was watching that game 7. Oh yeah, whoever wins game 7 going to the final. Neither one
for
is in
real.
there. So, oh
No, they're
yeah,
not. They're not. And that's where I was going to bring it up. There's no question who the best player in the series is, right?
Luka.
Like I mean, some people, they could come out and they could try to say Jason Tatum. You can make the case. Tatum ain't got that kind of pull with the people. I mean, Tatum's good. We'll all acknowledge that. Jalen Brown's good. We'll all acknowledge that. They got a good collection of players.
We
But
do.
the best player in this finals is Luka Doncic, and that has to mean something in this. And I guess if you go and you rank these players, I mean, if you're ranking the best players in this finals, you would go Luka one, two you would go with. I'm guessing would you go Tatum or would you go Kyrie?
I go Tatum.
Tatum,
Can't disrespect him like that.
okay. Then we
Can't
get to
disrespect.
three. Would you go Jalen
I
Brown?
actually would go Jalen Brown.
Jalen
Because
Brown. So
Jalen
then
Brown, Jalen, and then Kyrie.
and then
Now,
Kyrie.
now,
Now from
see,
there on, there's going to be a little streak of Celtics. You
it
went
is
two
going to
and two
be
right there,
got Derek
and then
White,
the rest of that top 10 is going to be probably what you got Drew
got
Holiday, you got
Derek
you could
White.
probably say Derek White. If Porzingis plays, Porzingis will probably be in there. Horford may even make a case in there. Like there's a lot of people that are going to fill the rest of that thing up. When do you get to the next Mavericks player? Who is the next Mavericks player that
I
comes
would
in
say the
this?
next Maverick
PJ
player would
Washington.
be potentially PJ Washington. You
Yeah,
can probably go Lively or Gafford.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this. So I've been talking with my cousins in Atlanta. We've been having arguments back and forth. Some of his friends as well. I'm gonna ask you this: do you deem this Boston Celtics team a super team?
No.
I don't either, but I'm gonna give you their case. They say because they brought in a Drew Holiday, because they brought in a Al, not Al,
Drew
Christopher.
Holiday was like sent to Serbia. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah,
was he
but
was he was he
he
was
was
just sent to Portland as like a throwaway.
an all defensive type player, and they
And
feel
and,
him
I,
and
and don't get
Phil
me
Simple.
wrong, there's a place for that. Do I respect your don't hear me, the wrong way. Drew Holiday's a great player. I just don't think, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put too much
See,
on it.
I wouldn't. I see. That's
You
the
go
same
ahead.
way. That's the same way I was thinking. I'm like, this is a really good basketball team.
He's a good third player. He's a good third best player.
I don't think he's the third best. Well, he's currently is right now, but
If you have him as
Porzingis,
your third or fourth best player, you're cooking. Like that's a really good player to have.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Like I think
But
Porzingis
is
probably the
but
third
would
best.
you compare this to those Warriors teams? No.
No.
Would you compare these to the those the Miami Heatles? No. Would you like you can go down the list. Like I don't think you can
Well,
do
we'll
it.
see. That's the
But
thing.
keep on though, because you said Drew. They went out of Drew.
Then
What
the
else? What did you
Porzingis,
say?
then they went to
Porzingis.
Porzingis, and then they went to how Derek White has been playing. And I said
They bought low on all three of those guys though.
they
Like
did. They did.
if you
That's
go
why
back and look at it, what did they trade away for? I mean, it's just great management, great roster management. If you really think about it, I mean, they traded right here. They traded Malcolm Brogdon, injury risk the whole time. Robert Williams, injury risk the whole time. A 2024 first round pick from the Warriors. Don't mean squat to them. And an unprotected 2029 first round pick. The best thing they got out of that deal was a 2029 unprotected first round pick. If that's all you're really giving away for Drew Holiday, you just won that trade.
you
And we
want
even
to.
said it at the time. I'm pretty sure we said at the time this was a great trade for the Celtics. Okay?
Yeah, we
Let's look
did.
at Porzingis trade. I want to see the details on
Because he
that.
came in to fill in for Marcus Smart, which I thought I was like, oh, hey, when they let go of Smart, I was like, free. I don't think that was smart to do. Ironically, but
I like Smart was a good player,
he was.
but the thing is, when you can and at the time, right? Because I think the Porzingis trade happened before the Holiday trade, right? Or was it vice versa?
I think Porzingis happened first.
Yeah. So maybe they had it in their mind. Okay, we'll get rid of Smart, but we'll just put Holiday in a spot,
Mhm.
which that's a wash. You know what I'm saying?
That is a
Or
lot.
if
That's a good pick.
anything, you may have gotten better.
Yeah,
Like you can make the case you got better. But the Celtics, they got Porzingis, the number 25 pick in the 2023 draft, and a 2024 first round pick. That was the trade they ended up trading. That was the pick they ended up trading to the Trailblazers. So that in itself helped them get Holiday. They only traded away Smart, Gallinari, Mike Muscala, and a second round pick, bro. That's all they traded.
see, and I'm glad you made that point because I didn't look at
That's
it
all
from
they
the
traded.
I look at it from the management perspective, which is really good because to say that's a super team by bringing that in based off what you're giving away,
You
that's
bought
not that's
like
not
damaged goods. Like at that time, nobody like people weren't really chomping at the bit to get him. I don't know if you could classify this as a super team.
well. See, that's when we was making the case. He was like, "Well, how many All NBAs are All Stars?" And I'm like, "Well, looking at it, all Drew Holiday has is All Defensive. He don't have an All NBA."
Yeah, and an
And
All
Kristaps
NBA.
Porzingis has only made All Star one time. I only think he has an All NBA. So like, they're really good players. This is a really good basketball team. They have the number one seed in record. But to say they're a super team, I can see that, and I disagree with them a lot. And I said, now what you were saying, some super teams are created, but they don't always be meant to. Not all super teams are successful. Like, would you call the Suns this year a super team with Bill Durant
I
and
feel
Brooklyn?
like out of that, yeah. Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I really would because
I agree.
they went out, they spent it like that was a highly sought after guy. Bradley Bill was. I mean, regardless of how it play out,
It failed, but it's still a super team.
people wanted him. People wanted him. Like who at the end of the day, who were you fighting to get Porzingis? Who were you fighting to get Drew Holiday? I just don't know if many people were in the market for either one, and for different reasons. You could bring up, oh, Drew Holiday's falling off. You could say like that, or he's not as good anymore. If they're willing to get rid of him to get Damian Lillard, then what does that say about him? And then the other thing, Porzingis, oh, always injured, and then he's showing that right now. We don't know if he's actually going to be playing. Begin this. So it's literally damaged goods. Not a little play on words there, no pun intended. But I was even looking at the Derek White trade. Okay, pulled this one up. This was let's see. This was in 2022. They did this. Okay, and at the time, Derek White, good player, not great, good player. But again, this is a guy like if he's your fourth, fifth dude, it's not bad. This is a pretty decent deal. They traded away Josh Richardson, which when's the last time you've heard anything about Josh Richardson, right? I mean,
I know.
bench player.
Yeah.
Romeo Langford, a former first round pick from Indiana, and a top four protected 2022 first round pick. So that obviously that one didn't convey to 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 Boston, so they didn't get to keep that pick. It got sent away. I wonder who they ended up getting in that deal. So I'll go back and look at that. But either way, like you said, I mean I agree with you, man. I don't think that that this is a super team.
No. Would you classify the Clippers as a super team?
Yeah, I mean I kind of would a little bit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
kind of
like
I
you
ain't
have
got
to
like it's an interesting question to ask because
because,
what qualifies it as a
and
super
it's not
team.
because of Westbrook. It's more because of like obviously Kawhi PG and
Mm,
heck, Kawhi just made an All NBA team. Paul George still was looking. He played a really good, and James
yeah,
Harden. I mean, it just because the super team fails doesn't negate it from being a super team. The Houston Rockets of 98, 98, 97, Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon. That's a super team. Granted, they lost to the Utah Jazz back-to-back years in the Western Conference Finals. That doesn't negate them from being a super team because that they was really a really, really good team. They just lost, making it in. But they was considered a super. I would consider that a super team. Like
which say that one more time. Which one?
98, 90, 97 Houston Rockets. They had Hakeem
Yeah, they tried. They
Olajuwon,
they really tried to
Barkley,
load it up.
and Clyde Drexler. So
Yeah,
they loaded that up, bro.
they
Like,
did. They did. The reason I had to ask you clarification. I was trying to look up who that Spurs pick was, and they in that year the Spurs had three first round picks. So this is who they would have had. I mean, so you look at it: Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and then these are the three people they picked in that draft. And I'm guarantee you the first one wasn't the Celtics pick. I'd highly doubt it because the Celtics ended up finishing pretty good. I don't think they would have had this pick. Jeremy Sohan, who actually is a pretty good role player for the Spurs. I don't think that came from that's not the pick that they got from the Celtics. The other one, Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. So tell me the last time you've heard of those two names.
you're right. You're right.
That's when that draft happened. That's the last time I heard of those guys.
You're right. I haven't heard.
So they gave up peanuts for these players, and that's not to discount anything that they've done. That's just to say that this isn't a super team. This is just a well built, very high sustaining team. Like they've just made the right decisions. They've done the right thing at the right time, and they bought low, at the right exact time that they should have, and they're benefiting from it now. They're a great team. I wouldn't qualify them as a super team though.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't qualify Celtics as a super team either, man. I said the same thing. You can't qualify guys that are a super team because they're playing really good basketball and they're making like I wouldn't. As crazy as it sounds, I wouldn't call the 7-3-9 Warriors team a super team. I
Oh,
would call the 2017 Warriors a super
when you
team.
went and
They
got
got
KD, that's when it changed up.
that's
That's when
the
it
super.
changed up. Yeah,
There you go.
that's when it
There you
changed up. That's it. That took it to the another level. Like a
go.
super team, I feel like when you see it, it's like one of these teams that goes out and makes a trade to get that last piece. You think
Yeah,
about the Celtics going and getting Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. You think
I know.
about the Heat going and getting LeBron and Chris Bosh.
Yeah,
You think about these types of teams, and that's why I think about the Clippers when they went and signed Kawhi and they go and trade for Paul George. Next
right.
thing you know, they're getting Westbrook and Harden.
Or they
You
bring
can
them
name,
on.
yeah. It's just like
Or,
it's shades of that team you just brought up. Guys toward the end of their career, but still have that name value.
and the Clippers has failed, man. I don't care what nobody say, man. I like
Oh, it's
them.
big time fail.
But they have failed, since 2020, when they brought Kawhi in from the Raptors team. They have failed. It has not
Yeah.
been a successful thing at all. I know they've made it to the Western Conference Finals where they play. Who did they play? The Suns. Was it the Suns? Yes, it was the Suns of 2021.
Uh huh.
Or the year 2020 when they up 3-1 on the Nuggets and lost that series when, that's when the year the Lakers won. So they've had their opportunities, man. Um, it's been a fail. It's been a fail. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to go back sometimes and look at that trade they did for Paul George because that's like one of the most crazy like turnouts that anybody's ever gotten from a trade. You look at it at that time and what it was. Do you remember how much they got for Paul George at that time?
Uh,
It
Wait a
was
minute.
just an
With the Thunder,
embarrassment of
with the
riches.
Thunder,
They
right?
got go. I'll let you take a guess. I mean, you probably know who's the main piece they got from him. You know the player that they got. Okay, so you got from him.
I don't. I'm
It's their
going.
best
Oh
player.
wait a minute. Sean Gillies. That's right.
Yeah, they got him.
That's
They
right.
got Danilo Gallinari, whatever. They got a 2022 first, 2024 first, 2028 first, uh, 2021 first from the Miami Heat, 2023 first round pick, lottery protected from the Miami Heat, the 2023 first pick swaps and 2025 pick swaps with the Clippers. So they got a ton. So the Clippers will still be paying on that for the near future. I think that's actually 2026. So yeah, that they're still on. So like they still have a first round pick from them this year, 2 years from now, and they got pick swaps. I got a pick swap next year with them, so they own them for the next little bit. Like it's ridiculous the embarrassment of riches they got for that one. Like that's like one of the crazy trades I remember.
Wow.
Yeah,
That that's. Ugh.
we
That's
went on
horrible.
a whole little
Ugh.
sideways thing with this
Yeah, we
super team
did.
thing,
Yeah.
and I'm glad. I mean, I like talking it,
Yeah.
but
Ugh.
yeah, I don't know. That's where I sit on it. But back to the finals. All right, back to the finals. How I think this plays out, and you know where my heart is on this one. I'm actually with you, Torres. I want your Mavericks to win this one. I really do. That's where my heart is. I'm trying to think about where my brain is though, man. Like that's where it goes. I had to start thinking about this, logically a little bit, and part of me just doubts the. It's the same doubt that crept in my mind when I picked the Timberwolves to beat the Mavericks. It was just doubting the depth, doubting the rest of the roster. Um, that's what causes concern for me. But what causes me concern on the other end is what we just laid out. You got Luke and you got Kyrie. Good luck trying to figure that one out, Boston.
True.
Um, I don't know if I can still trust that coach. That coach has done better. Joe Mazzulla has with the Celtics, but they do got the depth now. Drew Holiday does make a difference. Kristaps Porzingis, if he's healthy, that does make a difference, and I think he will be healthy. And what I'll do is I'll take a great NBA Finals with the Celtics winning this thing at home in Game 7. That's what I'll take. I think
Um,
this is going to be a great NBA Finals.
I look. I'm actually not against what you just said. So this is what people don't. The Mavs have a really good team, and because of their players, they're going to win games. But you're right. It's going to come down to depth, and depth is what is going to. I feel like it's going to hurt the Mavs a little bit. If PJ Washington steps up like he did in that Thunder, because technically, aside from Luca, obviously, PJ Washington was the next best player in that OKC series. He was. He was showing out. Um, he got to be that type of player. Obviously, I feel like Kyrie gonna be playing with a vengeance. Either Kyrie gonna be playing with a vengeance, or the Celtics gonna be hard on making sure to negate him playing like that. They're gonna be playing. We're gonna focus and make sure this guy don't get off. We can't stop Luca, but we can try to negate Kyrie. Don't let him be. You can't have the two-headed monster. You're gonna have a one-head monster. If you're gonna
Uh-huh.
get beat, you let one of them beat you. Don't let both of them beat you because you ain't gonna have much of a chance. So
No.
that's why I like what the Celtics are able to do. Look, my head says Celtics in 7. I do. My head does. But I'm going with my heart, man. We going with feelings today. I'm going Mavs in 6. I think we can find a way to pull off the upset. Um, I can see Mavs in 7 potentially. Kyrie goes off in game 7. I would love that. Actually, be a much better story for me. Granted, about giving me a heart attack, be a much better story. But it will be great. It'll be a great series. Great to watch. Great to understand. It's going to be back and forth. A lot of close game. Heck, the Celtics has had a lot of close game. Granted, they've swept when they've beaten most of them, all of them by 5 games, but they've had a lot of close games. So has the Mavs. We've seen these guys come out on the other end. It's going to be some great basketball to see down the stretch. I'm excited to see Jason Kidd coaching his first final, man. I have a lot of respect for Jason Kidd. I think he's, man, the type of player he was,
He's
to
working his
him winning
way
the
up.
championship in Dallas. Now he's getting his team back to the championship. Imagine that you win the Dallas Mavericks their first title as a player, and then you win it, you come back and win it again as a coach. That would be special, man. Um, I'm all for the storyline. Let's go, Mavs. Let's go, Mavs.
Yeah, the storylines, there are some interesting ones. Kyrie's return to Boston, like where it all kind of stemmed with some some crazy stuff happening there, obviously, and then when he went to Brooklyn after Boston, somebody was even showing the clips the other day of him flicking the birds to the fans, while he's playing, things like that. Like that's where a lot of stuff stemmed from, all the Kyrie stuff that popped off throughout the years. Then you got apparently, and I'd have to go back. Obviously, I really wasn't watching during this time, but when Jason Kidd, apparently when he went to the Celtics at one point, things didn't go too well there. The fans were pretty rough on him, so this will be like an interesting time for that. Like I told you, the Boston fans against Luka Doncic, I think that's going to be fun to watch. I just think that's going to be all them drunk Celtics fans. God only knows the stuff that's going to be said from them jokers. That's going to be a fun environment, I think, to just watch from the TV screen. But really, we're sitting here talking about these role players coming out, and we talked about the 2011 NBA Finals, and I can't help but think something like that's going to happen again for this team to win it. You're going to have, because I still remember, and I went back and pulled it just so I remember this one guy's name. But I still remember that's the year that everybody started realizing who JJ Barea was. That series right there made JJ Barea some money, man. Like he hung
Yeah,
around the league for a little
it
while
did.
after that.
He got paid after
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Tyson Chandler got paid after that. And Lord knows, because he went to the Knicks, and Lord knows he need to get paid what he got
Who
paid
was that? You
for.
said, yeah, Chandler. Yeah,
Chandler,
Chandler.
Tyson Chandler. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He got paid big.
yeah.
Of his career. He had a great season with them there. But even like Stojakovic, when he would come in and he'd play a little bit, and then Brendan Haywood, and the guy that I had to just look this up for was Brian Cardinal. You remember Brian Cardinal? The
Boy, yes,
custodian, or what
yes,
I think they called him, the
yeah,
custodian or the
yes,
janitor or something like
dude.
that. Like,
Come in
hang
and
on, I
get
think
there in 3 or 4 minutes, but just come in
yeah,
and just block a shot.
yeah, they called him the custodian or the
Yeah,
janitor. That's what they would like call him. And he was just this
yeah.
old white guy, bald and white guy that
Oh,
would
yeah,
come in and he'd be hitting free throws. I'm just like, it threw salt on the wound because you're like as a LeBron guy, as a guy rooting for the Heat to win this thing,
yes.
not only are you losing, but it's this guy, this guy's coming in and getting points on you. I don't
Yeah.
know. Threw me for a loop, bro. Threw me for a loop. So I think it'll have to be another thing like that. We're obviously going to have to see
Mhm.
big games from these role players. There won't be any. I don't think there's any guys like Brian Cardinal on this Mavericks team. The closest thing you're probably gonna get is what a Jaden Hardy performance out of nowhere, or like I don't know who else plays low minutes for them really. That gets in and just kind of does some stuff from time to time, but. I think that's how it's going to have to play out. I really hope y'all win it, Torres, but I have my doubts, man. I really do. It's hard for me to jump on, and this will be. I had them winning round one. Now, I had them winning round
You
one against
did.
the
I had him
Clippers,
losing. I had him losing in 7 in round one. I did.
and
I
I
did.
had them. I can't remember who I had.
I
Did
picked the
I?
Thunder. You picked the. I
I
mean, I'm sorry. I
I
picked the Mavs. You picked the Thunder on that.
Yeah, yeah.
I picked the
So I know
Mavs.
I picked them round one, but I've doubted them. That's two straight. This will be three straight. I hope they prove me wrong, man. I hope maybe
Hey,
it's good luck. Hey, maybe it's good luck that I'm doubting them on this one, man.
yeah, keep
Maybe
it
that'll
going.
bring you something.
I gave
So
it.
but yeah, so man, let's get into this. Okay, so we picked our, and I picked them in six, or I picked them in seven. What'd you say for yours? You picked
Mavs and
Mavericks,
6.
Mavs in six. Either way, man, that'd be a good series. So I'm hoping for it. But we got to talk about this. We previewed UFC 302. I was able to. I told Torres, man, I feel like I'm much more prepared than normal. I was actually, summer break. I'm actually able to stay up, and even though it is Sunday the next day, it's like I end up paying for that the rest of the freaking like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if I stay up to those ungodly hours on Saturday night. But I was able to sit and watch good bit of this card, or at least the main card, better yet. And I actually really enjoyed it, man. I had a good time watching this. What are some of your things? You lead us into this, and I'll chime in from time to time.
So going into UFC 302, you had a lot of people going into this series. I mean, not series, sorry, card.
Uh
Um,
huh.
you saw a lot of different things. I'm gonna just skim through the prelim. See, I didn't get a chance to really see much of it. But again, a lot of people talked about judging, and judging was a problem all night for sure. Um,
Yeah,
they
especially
said,
that one fight.
I know, man. Some people felt
Yeah.
like Mitch won this unanimous, but I think some saw the. I
A lot
mean,
of
I don't know how
decisions.
decision. Yeah, a lot of decisions. The women's fights with the decision. I get a chance to see that. Bosso Hopfest, I know of him. Like I say, he was in Caleb Crump's corner. I was rooting for him. I've seen him train. Uh, I it was surprising to see how how he fought. Him and Mickey Gall had a really good fight. Mickey Gall, man, 7-6, man. He ain't got too many left, man. He probably about to get put out the UFC soon. You can't.
Yeah.
They don't usually UFC don't have guys with those type. Back in the day, they used to keep guys with those type of records, but now, nah, they don't keep guys with no 7-6, 7-7 records because those are like regional scene records. But I tell people, man, I tell people all the time, just because you're in the UFC don't mean you're a UFC level. Well, I'll take that back. You're in the UFC, but you don't mean you're a top level fighter. People get it's just like I could be wrong on this, but I tell people some guys that made the NFL is because of their size, not necessarily always their skill or the school that they played at. You never sometimes, and that's sometimes with the UFC. Sometimes you see guys you get in, you're like, how he in the UFC, and it
Yeah.
makes you question. So Mickey Gall's he's good, but I don't think he's on that high level talent like that. Um, Phil Rowe, man, my boy Phil Rowe. Man,
Yeah, I was looking at. I was wanting to hear your thoughts on that. I didn't get to watch it. What went down, dude?
man, I felt like he was a little cautious on pulling the trigger. Uh, Jake Matthews, him and Jake Matthews was waiting, like Phil would put the pressure on him, but he wouldn't stay as active as I know he can. And
Mm-hmm.
Phil got power, so Phil like bust him up really good. I just wish Phil would have just stayed a little bit more active. Uh, Feels good, man. Phil can go. Feels good. And Jake Matthews, very much power puncher. Phil took some shots, bro, and just walked through them and kept going. A lot of respect for Phil, but man, he's one of those guys that 10-5. He's gotta get that next one, man. You got to start racking them off. You only got so many. That I just know how the UFC is, man, and he's a guy that I respect a lot. So hopefully he can get it going.
Yeah.
Uh, Grant Dawson, Joe Selecki. I mean, it was a grapple heavy fight, but Grant Dawson looked just like Habib in that. I mean, wish he would have had a little bit more ground and pound, but man, great grappling from Grant Dawson. He trains out of ATT, same gym, Dustin Poirier and all them boys train at. So
Mm-hmm.
really look really good. Jolton Almeida, one of my favorite fighters. I told you about him. I knew he was
Yeah.
going against another guy that wrestled before, but I still picked him really quick. Almeida just ran through Romanov, took him down in the first 10 seconds, and
First one.
subbed him like 2 minutes later. Ran through
Yeah.
him like it was another day. He could fight next week again. That's how easy it was. He didn't take no damage. It was like a
Mm.
spar. It wasn't even a sparring session. It was like, let's go do a daily roll in jiu-jitsu. That's all. He didn't do anything. So really good job by Jolton Almeida.
Jeez.
Roman Kopolov versus Cesar Almeida. Shocked me. I thought Cesar Almeida was going to be the KO Roman Kopolov. Roman Kopolov took a route that surprised me. He took the wrestling route. He's Russian. He should have been taking the wrestling route, but
Yeah,
he's
I'm pretty
known for
sure
his
like that
striking.
was one you told me that when we were picking these, you were like, I feel pretty confident about this one. Like
I
I feel
was,
real confident. Yeah.
yes. I mean, now granted, Caesar's a kickboxer, but I didn't think Caesar would. I didn't think Roman would have took that approach. If you understand what I'm saying, I thought
Mm-hmm.
Roman was going to come out there and fight like he always fight. He go out there and strike with everybody, do his striking kicks, a lot of kicks. I said, oh, if you're going to stand up on the feet with Caesar, you're going to get knocked out. But he finally, I've never seen him use wrestling much. So he finally utilized wrestling as a
Right.
Russian and took Almeida down. Now, granted, it wasn't great takedowns, but he took Almeida
He
down and
got it though.
held him down. And he won by split decision because all he was doing the old Russian way. Take you down and just hold you down like this. Just hold you. When he even throwing punch, just hold you. That's why they kept getting scared.
They didn't like make you get up or whatever. They don't
They
like
did,
say,
but he took
hey.
him right back down. So, I
Good
mean,
lord, I'm kind of
hey,
glad I didn't watch that one. Then I'm
doing
glad
what he
that.
had to do to win, man. Doing what he had to do to
I
win.
mean,
That's why
don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, I can't knock it, but you know the old, kind of thing that people think of when those kind of fights. It's just like, oh, and I feel like Strickland
always
said it
felt
best.
this.
It's boring.
It
Like
is. It is
when he,
boring. It is
yeah,
boring. Even DC said, "I'm a big fan of wrestling. That's boring." It was boring, but I
yeah,
always say this: tell the man on bottom to get up. I always say that. Like
yeah.
that's
He's
a
got
that's
just as much a
a
part in it as
skill.
he does.
That's a skill disparity. Like if I can take you down
As
at
Poirier
will,
showed.
there you go.
I
Because
thought that was pretty neat how he would get out of it.
that's right. Poirier got better in that skill set
Mm-hmm.
because I seen how he fought Oliver and Habib, and that's why we'll get to it. But I thought he was gonna get ran through. But that's what I'm saying. It's a skill disparity because you see guys get taken down. You're like, they want to say, man, the top guy, he ain't doing all he doing is taking them down. Y'all, one, people don't understand how hard it is to take another man down, how
Mm-hmm.
hard it is to hold him down, and then how hard it is to transition to position to get in a position to finish them. All three of those things are much harder than on the feet. It is actually harder to grapple people than to strike with somebody. The thing is, you're more at risk when you strike people because anybody got a chance to land it on your chin. It's 4-ounce gloves. So it's about how you going to go in. Like, okay, it's easier to stand on the feet because sometimes you don't exert much energy. That's why you see guys that stand on the feet, they can fight almost all day. But when the grappling gets thrown in, you see the huffing and puffing because it
Yeah.
requires a lot more energy. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. But that's why the Russians grapple guys so they can make your arms, the striker's arms heavy. And then when their arms are heavy, what they do, now I'm going to strike with you, as you saw in the main event. I was able
Mm-hmm.
to strike with Poirier because what he did that first round. Took him down, held him down for the whole first round, even almost had a submission. But arms heavy, you're breathing heavy, your nose, everything's changing. But we'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Randy Brown versus Santos.
I was able to watch that one.
I was able to watch that. See,
Nothing crazy.
that's the thing with me is like there are certain striking fights I watch and I get bored from it. Like, he had a good performance. Don't get me wrong, that was a really good performance. But
I
I
don't know.
don't
I
see.
wasn't over the moon on it. I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
on the
lie.
moon on that one either. Yeah,
I didn't get really over the moon till a couple
final
fights
three
right here.
fights actually. The final three fights for me.
Yeah, the final three fights is when I was really having a good time. Like I was like, all
Yeah,
right, this is good.
yeah. Nico Price, Alex Morano. Good fights. Little slug out. Congrats to Nico. Just I feel like to me two old heads brawling it out and two legends. Two very experienced guys in the game brawling it out.
Respectable.
Respected guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they did the thing. Went to decision. Like I said, there was a decision every fight in this card except for the Almeida fight. So, and then obviously the Poirier fight. So you only had, and then we had the Kevin
Well,
Holland.
and Kevin Holland, yeah,
Mhm. So that was crazy.
yeah,
Mikhail came out there hot. I mean, swinging, and he caught Holland, and Lord have mercy, his arm. I mean, he started ground and
yeah,
pounding.
dude.
Man,
It reminded me of the movie Warrior. You ever seen
I remember
Warrior?
the Warrior with Tom
Yeah,
Hardy.
yeah, yeah. And he's just like,
Yeah,
Brennan, tap with it. And it just, dude didn't. He just like, I'll just screw it. I'll let it break, and that's what
man,
he
them
did.
guys
It was
overseas, man.
wild.
That's why they
So
say
was it ever confirmed? It was a break.
it was a broken. Yeah,
Good God. And he was still, I guess that just goes to being a fighter. Like he was still sitting there like, why'd you stop it or whatever. Like he was upset about it. So
yeah.
crazy, bro.
Nobody
Crazy.
ever really cares about some of those guys overseas. They don't care about if it breaks. All
Kevin
they care
Holland's
about
he's so freaking fun to watch.
he is. He can do. I mean,
I
he
really
is.
enjoy him.
It's funny. He said, "I'm the best gate. I'm one of the greatest gatekeepers of all time." And like
Yeah.
my coach said in the group message, he said, "At least he knows his role." I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
he's what did
makes
he say
money.
to he said, golly, what did he say at the end? He had a really funny I'll fight high, I'll fight low, or I'll fight.
Yeah,
They were talking about the different weight classes. He said, "Just keep Kev around."
yeah.
So
Just
he
keep him
said,
around. Yeah.
"That's just fun,
He's
man.
gonna be
That's
around, dude. He's gonna be. He is a gatekeeper. He's gonna be that guy, up and
they
coming
need to
guy.
keep him around for a while."
Oh
I
yes,
just
up and
I
coming
just
guy
like
that
his
comes in.
personality.
Hey, if you can beat Holland, you're ready for the top 10. Because Holland's that guy that stays around that area, that 10 to 15
Uh,
area. You beat Holland, you're ready to go. So
all
Holland
right,
is going to be probably that
green light.
gatekeeper, and he's gonna have a lot of UFC fights. He's probably going to eventually have the most if he stays on track like he does.
Because
He's fighting
he's
every.
still a really young guy, right? Like I
Let me
mean, or at
see.
least he looks young.
He looks young. Let me see
He
how old.
does. Like he looks like he's still got some some time to put in, man. Like I feel like it ain't time for him to be
Kevin
done yet.
Holland is 31. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. Yeah.
that Joker still got time, and
He got
yeah, I
time.
mean he's already got 37 fights under his belt, at least according to ESPN here. So I mean,
Yeah, he
this is
does. Yeah.
crazy.
and then he's been in the UFC. Gosh, he's been in the UFC since
Because was it last year tours or was it the year before where he did like 4 fights in the span of like
it
9 months or something like that? He
was
was just picking up fights.
2000. It was 2020, the COVID year. Yeah, he fought 5 times. He
Yeah.
fought in May, August, September, October, and December. He won
That-
5 times.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he won all 5 of those fights.
Yeah. Ain't that cool? That's
That is,
cool.
that
That's
is
pretty
crazy.
cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's how you rack up those fights. I mean, but in that time, if to be fair, I mean, were those all like quick finishes too?
He beat Anthony Hernandez, who's really good. Fluffy is really good. He
Uh
beat
huh.
Fluffy in round one. He
Okay.
beat Joaquin Buckley, who's on the upcoming 170 in the third round. He went to
Okay.
split decision with Darren Stewart. He beat this guy named Charlotte Otaveras in round one, and he knocked out Ronaldo Souza. Oh my gosh, in round one. So yeah, I mean,
What a
and
tear.
plus, huh?
I said, what a tear.
The thing is though, it's like he don't. So when he fights at 85, he don't cut much weight because he walks around like 195, 196. So 85 is easy for him. His true weight class is 170. All
Mm-hmm.
those fights he was fighting at 185 because he knew he can just. But he's got power, man. He's athletic, strong, able to do a lot of things. So, uh, yeah. And Holler been fighting. He fought on Contender Series in 2018, but they didn't give him the contract. So he
Sounds
took a short
familiar.
notice fight later that year against Thiago Santos at
Mm.
185, and he lost that fight. But then he went on a tear, man, and yeah. And he had a lot of ups and downs. He lost a lot of he lost to Bronson, lost to Vettori, beat lost to Shemaev, lost to Wonder Boy. He should have beat Wonder Boy. He just tried to go in there and
Yeah.
strike with Wonder Boy the whole time. Lost to Jack Mandela. That was a close fight. I thought he won that one, and he lost to MVP. But they gave him a layup and said, "Hey man, you've helped us out so much. Hey, go handle business." He almost lost that layup, but
He
he,
was
he real good, man.
a company man, like Strickland
Company
said.
man, y'all. Company man.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Says, yeah, speaking of
Speaking of
Strickland,
company man, I'm about to
yeah.
say,
Yeah, speaking of Leah, let's get into that one because that was just and I realized there was a lot of
it was a
for
clinic.
some people watching it, like maybe it would have been boring, but I was thinking about it, like the commentary really made it fun for me. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like they're just great at what they do. The people that commentate, like Daniel
DC,
Cormier, yeah, and
Ron
Joe
Anik,
Rogan and all them,
Rogan.
yeah, like they're really good at keeping you engaged, even if hey, there's not a ton of action going on here. Like they would talk about Paulo Costa's, his
Introduce.
how he got high and then he went on his low, and then
Yeah.
they were talking about
He fought the same shit.
obviously I was like, I was thinking about it too. Like, is it really a UFC fight if Joe Rogan's not talking about somebody's legs about to give out? Oh, his cap. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Joe Rogan, like
Well, he
every time
did.
I'm,
He did. When he kicked Sean Strickland early, I was like,
yeah,
Sean Strickland
he was
southpaw. I
he
was
was
like,
nailing him.
oh man, because I was
He's
sparring
like,
Strickland
that
too many
thing's
times.
welting up. It's about to give out. Like Joe,
Dude,
Joe Rogan saying
yeah,
like that, and somebody in another group chat I was in, they were like, something about fighting like a rooster, like how Strickland but there's something to be said about the way that he fights, and like I was thinking about how I could, just the obvious coach in me, think about how I can apply some of this crap to my sport. But when we're going up in these tournaments we have coming up, we're going to be doing these 6v6 things over the summer,
that's right. You
and
told
it's
me.
a different ball game than it's a smaller field, it's higher pace of play. I was thinking about like how to teach them defense. How we're going to defend. You're patient. You wait. You apply pressure, but you don't challenge. You challenge. You challenge when you see that person slip up or when there's a vulnerable moment. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
And that literally, it feels like that's how Strickland fights. Like he applies the pressure, applies the pressure, applies the pressure, applies the pressure, and then he waits. He waits. It was like watching like I don't know. I thought about like a snake too. Like the snake, it's not like an instant kill. It's just it's a slow burn, bro. It's a slow
Yeah.
burn, and that's literally what happened to him. Like it was kind of interesting watching it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know it was a full round fight, full 5 rounds, and there wasn't a whole lot of action, but there's something to kind of take away from this interesting style he does because a lot of people don't do that.
Dude, Sean Strickland's style is literally exhausting,
It's
hard to
unique.
fight, hard to hit. I mean, I have to grapple him, and that's the problem when you grapple
Yeah,
him.
I was telling
It-
my family, I was like, Torres like, goes against this dude,
Yeah,
sometimes
I
like
have to
in like
grapple with
sparring and stuff.
him, and his grappling is just as good. Uh, Sean pace and pressure is something to behold of because I have seen him. He can go 10 straight rounds and not get tired. 10 5-minute rounds and not get tired because he gets
That's
in the
cool.
mode here. Boom.
Yeah,
Once he's settled, he can
yeah.
and he don't.
It just
He don't use no energy bending his knees. He's
uh-uh.
throwing his jab, his 1-2, his
Yeah,
teeps.
it's
He's
teeps.
utilizing his energy efficiently while you're gassing out on your back foot. That's one of my main things when I try to spar him. Don't back up. Well, I'm not a guy that backs up anyway. So it's just mainly us standing in the pocket. And then
I would love to see that, like you against him. Like that would be
oh
fun to watch.
well, it's fun for me. I do, but he gets off on those jabs, boy. He jabs me a lot, and then he changes his stance because he goes square on me rather than like his usual. He still his usual thing, but he
Uh huh.
squares up. But I'm able to have to set things up to go for my takedown, and I'm able to get the takedown, but I can't hold him down because he moves so well. So like Sean is one of the like he's really good, man. I mean, he's the hardest guy I've ever sparred, man, and he's
Wow.
still at the top. I mean, he's the number one ranked middleweight in the world right now. So like the guy is definitely efficient. I know I said on this on the podcast last week that I picked Sean Strickland. I was completely wrong because I texted Tyler. He can vouch. When I went back and looked, I said, "Oh, this fight's 5 rounds,
Yeah.
easily Strickland."
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
that's not even a debate
And that's
because
another thing they brought up in the commentary. They were like, Paulo Costa, it didn't work in his favor to ask for 5 rounds. They're like, that wasn't very smart.
it's not
So
smart.
apparently he requested it, is what it
That's
sounds
the
like.
dumbest thing he ever did because Sean Strickland can fight. Oh, you saw him between the corner. Sean Strickland was standing on the. He didn't even use the stool. He stood up and came to the middle, halfway in between the minute break you get. So this is around the 30-second mark. He's standing there. Yeah, I'm good. Coach is walking around him. He
And
drinking water.
mentally, like, what are you doing if you're Paulo Costa? You're over there sitting on your thing, you're breathing heavy, you're drinking water, and then you see this Joker, setting up like that. That's got to do something to you, like, God, dog, like, just like screw me sideways. This dude ain't even breathing heavy at all. Like, that's got to
Right.
do something to you, man. That's
It
got to do
does.
something to you.
It's got to, man. He's one of those special talents, and I applaud Sean. He said he needs to fight for the title. I agree, man. I do already know they're
So you
saying
think
whoever
that's
wins.
what's next?
Well, he said he's gonna wait on it because I do know they say whoever wins between Shamaev and Robert Whitaker on June 22nd, which I cannot wait. Everybody knows my favorite fighter right now in the UFC is Shamaev. Whoever wins between that gets the next title shot. Between eventually it's gonna be Dricus versus Izzy for the title soon. So whoever wins between that will fight the winner of Dricus and Izzy. Hey, hey, I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
Mm,
I'm pumped. I'm
okay.
ready to see it.
All right. Well, let's get into that last one too, because I mean, we both had the same pick on this one. We both. I'm pretty sure we both. I'm pretty
We
sure we
did.
both
I
went.
picked this
Is
one.
yeah. I told him where my heart. I don't know.
You
Did I
say
put
your
him where
heart
my?
would be done. You want it. It'd be a great story for Dustin, but you just see how many ways he can lose.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember because sometimes I'll just do it for the sake of doing it. And Poirier, to his own credit, he really pushed this one. Like,
Yeah.
he really made this a fight. And like I said, we were referencing earlier, like you knew that Makachev was gonna try to take him down. Like you said, Russians. Russians wrestling, all that kind of stuff. You knew he was going to do it, but um, you didn't know if Poirier was going to be able to get up from it or defend the takedown. Thought he did a pretty solid job. I mean, obviously he didn't win all of them, but for the most part, he was looking pretty good. Like he was doing pretty solid, and he was even giving me some hope there for a minute. I got my hopes all up. It's probably why I couldn't go to sleep immediately right after. My heart was probably beating from it, but he was able to get a nice little elbow in there. Split
Yep.
split that. Like that was pretty solid. Cut his eye for a second earlier. Like it was a very fun fight. There was a lot of heart from Dustin Poirier in that fight, and he really showed it. And Makhachev's he's just awesome, bro. Like he's
Makachev
just
is,
great.
man. Makachev.
He's just
I
awesome.
mean, I feel like I know what Dana White said in the press conference that John Jones, as long as he's fighting, he's always pound for pound for number one. I can agree with that because John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. But John Jones has not been as active. And because he has not been as active, I say right now, pound for pound number one is Islam Makhachev, in my opinion. Islam, Again, as I explained earlier, he took Dustin down early, within like the first minute.
Yeah.
Took him down, held him down for the whole round. Got him tired. Then he started striking with him. Then he would shoot randomly. He would get the takedown sometime. Dustin would do certain things to get up, get out, defend.
Yeah.
Dustin defended the takedowns really well.
Yeah.
Dustin knew it. Look, when you
And then
up
he said one time that's where he messed up his leg was on like a little leg whip or something. Is what he said.
on one of the singles on the cage, he hurt his
Yeah.
leg in that fourth round.
Mm.
But when you have fought Habib, you fought Oliveira, you fought these heavy grapplers, man. Then you got to fight Islam, bro. You are gonna be prepared. Like like okay, I felt Habib, I felt how top tier grappling feels. I know what I need to do in the training room to be prepared. Dustin did that. Dustin had his opportunities when he was on the striking. That was Dustin's opportunity. That's that puncher's chance. When you're on the feet striking, you should have had to. You got to put them all together to try to get Islam out of there. Islam gave him that opportunity.
He did.
Islam outworked him in that opportunity. Islam turned that opportunity into his own. Islam looked so good on the feet. I mean, the head movement, the hooks, the uppercuts from standing. I mean, Islam looked good on the feet, man. Yes, there were a few times Dustin caught him on the feet, but Islam stood in the pocket and went at him. And then obviously we saw what happened when he got the front headlock, went over to the Doris and finished it with a choke. Props to Islam, man. I am so big on that guy, man, because this guy has beaten Volkanovski twice. He beat Oliveira. He's now beating Dustin. Who you else gonna put in front of? Everybody wants to see Armin Tsuzuki and fight him next, and that's gonna be a great fight because Armin is a great grappler. He's heavy wrestling too. It'll be if you should go back and watch that fight when Armin he fought Islam on 2 weeks' notice, in like 2018, 2019, one of them. It's literally like they say one of the best grappling MMA fights you ever watched. I mean, scrambles for 15 minutes, full speed scramble. I mean, that means that cardio was on another level. Full speed scramble for 15 minutes. Now let's see what happened for 5 rounds, 25 minutes with a title on the line. Let's see how good with both of them elevating. I mean, if you want to talk about since 2018, we're in 2024 now. Let's see the elevation because that fight was offered to Armin right after he beat Oliveira on UFC 300. But he declined it because he's like, man, I just got out of the fight. I want to be 100% prepared because that card was like 6 weeks later. So that's why Dustin took the opportunity. But I'm ready to see him versus Armin. That's going to be the fight, man. That's going to be the fight.
And I know, Dustin said after, I can't remember who he said he trained with to get ready for it, but
Gamrot. Who's Gamrot?
Yeah, Gamrot. And Gamrot did
He's
a good job.
He's ranked number 5 in the lightweight division. He's really good too.
He did a good job on that, man, because he was pretty prepared for the most part. But afterwards, obviously the talks of retirement and all. Some of the people on the commentary, they were saying they think he'll be back. What do you think?
If Conor McGregor wins this month and beats Michael Chandler, what's the next big money fight for him? Dustin Poirier. They need to finish. It's 2-1 Dustin, but because of the broken leg, some may deem it 1-1. So it'll give them that opportunity to have that fourth fight. It's gonna sell a lot. If the money's right, Dustin's coming back. Yeah. But I think that's the only fight that will bring him back. I feel like I don't see because there's no reason for him to keep climbing that ladder, man. I mean, climb the ladder for what? I mean, look. I love Dustin, but you only lost 3 title fights. You lost to Justin Gaethje. Oliveira and Gaethje is right there, right up.
That's what pushes him. It sounds like it's like that's what his motivation is to get there, to get to the.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to. The line gets longer. Now all he had to do was win one fight his last fight against Saint Denis, Benoit. All he had to do was win that one fight. Now he might have to win 2 or 3 fights or 4 fights in a row. Not saying he can't do it, but that's harder. That's more weight cuts. Yeah. That's more. Dude, he's older. That's harder. That's harder, man. So,
you could be right. That would make a lot of money though. The McGregor and him.
Oh yeah, that's making a lot of money. That's the fight.
Yeah. When is that fight coming up?
June 29th. June 29th. McGregor and Chandler. Then we got Robert Whitaker and Shemaev. June 22nd. We got a really good card this week with
Cannonier
and Imavov. Mm-hmm. So some solid fights, man. Solid fights.
All right. All right. Anything else you want to bring up here before we break it down?
No, man, really good card. I just saw Justin Jefferson had the biggest
Oh yeah.
contract ever by a non-football NFL football player. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
non-quarterback NFL history. Uh, what else? I saw the lineman died for the Dallas Cowboys, one of the greatest all time. I can't think of his freaking name. Uh,
I didn't know that.
he died at 52.
Bill Walton died. We didn't talk about that last time.
No, we did not. Bill Walton died. Larry Allen.
Yeah.
Larry Allen, one of the greatest
Yeah, I've heard
linemen.
of Larry Allen. I've heard of
Yeah,
Larry Allen. Yeah.
he died.
Dang.
I saw Darren Waller is thinking about retiring. All that
Yeah.
extra stuff he's been doing with the
Basketball player.
WNBA
Yeah.
basketball player. I
Yeah.
know. Saban and Urban Meyer and Aaron Donald are going to be inducted into the college football Hall of Fame. They're on the ballot. I think they're on the ballot. They're up for election. Okay, they're up for election. Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, and Aaron Donald. They all should get in. They all should be first
Oh
ballot.
yeah.
They all should get in. And quick thing, thoughts about Caitlin Clark and the things that they're doing to her in the league. I think that's a little
I feel like they've gone overboard with it. I think they hit the attention she garners because somebody was
I think
comparing um, her and Sabrina Ionescu like the stats, and they're very very similar. But she didn't get this, or at least I didn't see any national media
we get this
attention
time.
about
No,
it.
we get this
I
time.
just think that the amount of popularity that she's gotten, the amount of attention she has received, I feel like it's really caused some jealousy. I know that can be sound kind of petty to say, but I don't know. That's kind of what I'm starting to think.
It has caused jealousy, man. It has. It has.
Yeah.
You can see it with your full blown. I mean, they're trying to knock her head off, and they want to say, "Well, it's competitive. We're competing." Nah, unless you can go back and show me something where this is common in the WNBA. Nah,
I don't
not
think
at one
so.
player. Not at
I don't
one
think so.
player. Not at one player.
Because if I say, like, who knows? Because I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been a WNBA aficionado where I can sit here and tell you every time somebody's done, a flagrant foul on a player. Because, I'm going to be real. I ain't watched that. I
Not
ain't
really
been
watch
watching like
that.
that. I feel like right now, WNBA, they are capitalizing on what they've got
Yeah,
as
which
they
is good.
rightfully
But I
should.
watched some of the highlights, and I haven't watched a full game yet, but I've watched a good bit of the highlights. I have.
Yeah, but right now though they're getting the most attention they probably have ever gotten,
Oh,
and they're
for
really
sure.
taking advantage of it, and they need to. So if they're smart, they should know that this is for their own good because with people coming to these games like this and with attendance up and more people watching, that means more revenue. That means you will actually get paid more. That's the reason you haven't been getting paid more is because people haven't been buying your stuff. People have not been paying for the league pass or whatever. People have not been buying tickets. Money just don't come from nowhere. There's a reason and I hate getting into arguments about this with people because it just they think I'm just stupid or something, but they're like those athletes don't deserve that much money. All right, so if you go out and you make $1 million sale, you don't think you should get some commission, or you go
Yeah,
out and you bring in this money? They're getting percentages of what they're bringing in, and we're the ones giving into it. We're the ones watching these games every weekend. That's why they're getting it.
you could make a case. Some of these guys not getting paid enough. Like
Yeah.
that's the problem with fighting.
Yes.
Some people in
Yes.
fighting. I do agree. MMA fighters don't get paid enough. They should get paid more. But it's what you're bringing in. Look, if the heads are being turned because of you, you should get paid because of that. And what you see,
Hmm.
NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, you name it, soccer, everybody
All of
head
it.
turns when certain players play. They're gonna get this. I mean, I've heard people say, "Man, I don't think athletes should get paid hundreds of millions of dollars or nearly $1 billion." I'm like, well, do you not know the effect? Like when Leonardo Messi went to Miami, everything went up. It changed the
Yeah.
city. When
Yeah.
LeBron went to Cleveland, they talked about it. It made their economy better.
Yeah.
Like you can't make this up. Like
Mm-mm.
you don't tell me that man don't deserve that money. He, the economy ain't coming up
You're
because
right.
I not taking away from nobody, but somebody coming to work in a regular job coming into that city. It's not the same. Heck, even people in an elective or politician officials that go into some of these cities don't even make the economy go up. But oh man, let that athlete LeBron. Oh man, LeBron's here. I'm going to
Yeah.
Cleveland. It happens that way. I mean,
It's true.
it's just the nature of the game, man. We can't. I
Yeah.
know some people don't like it because I do feel like teachers, doctors, police officers, firefighters, like
Yeah.
people that really help the community should get paid more. I do, because these people have to do this stuff for the development of our adolescents or for the safety of the people in these communities. These guys should get paid more. They should
Mm-hmm.
be getting paid around hundreds of thousands, I feel like. But where's that money gonna come from?
Yeah,
Nobody,
that's what it comes down
nobody ain't
to.
turning their head at a police officer. Oh, this guy's okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations. I'm
that's the
just
million
saying.
dollar question. Yeah, where's the money gonna come from? Because
You
it
know,
just don't come from nowhere. Yeah.
you're right.
Ah, man. But yeah, I could definitely see it, man. Yeah, and they're getting more attention every time I get on social media. I see something like the NBA's really helping promote it too to get
They
it
are.
out there. So, um, it's growing, and that's good for them. But yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening in. We appreciate you guys that tune into the live stream. If you're out there listening to the podcast, thank you for listening there. If you want to support the show, just go in the description of the podcast, click on the Linktree link, and there's many different ways you can show us support. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us on the various different accounts we got: YouTube, X. We got our handles down here, Facebook, on our individual accounts, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can access that. Give us the follows there. We will appreciate it. Thank y'all for all you do, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.